and you're referring to the Paycheck Protection Program, which is put out through the SBA as part of the CARES Act, which again was just passed 2 weeks ago. So this has been an incredibly fast rollout of a $349 billion program. So we've had to learn as we've gone. There really was no playbook, or at least a very, very thin playbook that came with this just about a week ago. So we've all been learning, and as we've been going, which as you might imagine for bankers has been a little bit uncomfortable. But I think at this point the team's got it pulled together, and we're functioning very well. I just got an update on the numbers this afternoon. Out of that $349 billion program, about $250 billion of it has been approved by the SBA. So that leaves about $99 billion of funds that are still available. And Congress, various members and the president have all said that they're willing to add additional monies to that pool if they're needed. So if anybody's contemplating, doing this application, well, there's really no hurry. But on the other hand, I wouldn't delay. If you're interested, we need to get an application into the queue as soon as possible. In terms of First Security Bank's involvement, for Gallatin County as a whole, we are looking at about 800 loans that have been approved. We've got teams working all weekend, in fact, and long hours during the day to get those dispersed. And I'm happy to say that a bunch of them went out today, and many of them even to Big Sky. In Big Sky, we've approved over 80 loans, and those are being dispersed right as we speak. The average size of those is about 100,000. So this is going to make an incredible impact on the Big Sky community. One of the speakers mentioned earlier that we are probably going to suffer a little more than some other areas of the country because we are tourism based, and these monies are going to be critical in helping some of our businesses span this gap, at least get us into early summer so that we can keep people employed and be ready for whatever summer tourist season that we are able to realize. So that's a big number that we've worked on so far. So that was 80 loans that have been approved for Big Sky, Gallatin, Gateway areas. And I know personally I have about 50 more that are in the queue that we're working through the application approval and then loan documentation and funding process. So it's not over yet by any means. And you'll see a lot of things happening yet this week. So that's a huge thing that we've been able to accomplish so far. And then, again, I want to encourage anybody who's still interested to, consider submitting an application. Businesses who pay wages are, basically that's who's eligible for this program. It impacts people with less than 500 employees. So, that's most of our area by far. And there's even some exceptions to that. Normally, SBA does not allow 501c3s to benefit from programs like that. This was an exception made for the Paycheck Protection Program. And so nonprofits in our community can also cover their wages, for this period of time as well. Self-employed or sole proprietor people, anybody who submits their taxes through a Schedule C, or I should say earnings through a Schedule C, they're also eligible for this program. Unfortunately, people who take their ownership income out through K-1s, which doesn't involve the payroll taxes, those people are not eligible for this program. But otherwise, it covers the vast majority of businesses in our community. The loan amount is based on 2.5 times what those average wages are. And so it's really meant to cover the pay periods between now or when the loan's dispersed until early June. That's the 8-week period that we're talking about. There's also money in there to pay for mortgage or interest, rent expenses, and even utilities. So, we're purpose of the program is to keep people employed and pay the light bill to keep, a place for them to be employed. So,
Excellent.
the excellent thing about the end of this program is that if the funds are used as they're designated, it becomes a grant. So it's not even a loan if you follow the program guidelines. So great deal all the way around. And again, very much encourage people to still submit applications.
All right. Well, that's a very thorough update, Tim. Thank you for that, and impressive numbers. Kind of just high level, I mean, you obviously consult with and work with a lot of the business owners in town. How would you say that the business climate is doing? How are people faring so far?
I think, Eric, that, Big Sky is used to the seasonality. We're used to having that shoulder season or off season. And so most business owners prepare for that. Obviously, it came a month earlier than we were ready for, and now we're not certain what it's going to look like on the back end. So there's just no doubt that there's some anxiety here in terms of what that means for financial planning. I do want to also mention, though, that First Security Bank, on our own with approval of FDIC and our other regulators, are able to defer loan payments. And whether that's on a commercial loan or a personal installment loan, or even on a residential mortgage that we hold, we can defer payments for 3 to 6 months. This is really unprecedented, but I think goes right to the heart of your question, and that is, what comes next? Well, we don't know. So, we're willing to layer these deferments on top of the other programs out there to help people get through this, this next 3 to 6 month period.